Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Children of the Cup. This is episode 0, and I'm joined by two of our three players for a little bit of character creation. For one of them, they're completely brand new to the Vampire the Masquerade series, so this is going to be interesting. Also, they're on their phone, so unfortunately, they can only talk to us via text, and we can't see their wonderful, beautiful face. But other than that, you might recognize somebody down in the corner over there. Yeah, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Hi. Hi, my name's Cephoriel, also known as Dorian Croft. My name is Dorian Croft, also known as Cephoriel, is what I should say. And I'll be playing in this game, though I don't have a character yet, so I can't tell you what his or her name is. Probably him. It's easier.
All right, but that's what we're here today to go ahead and figure out. And you'll notice that we're using like fancy backgrounds for our overlay and stuff. We've got moving backgrounds with deserts and waves and all sorts of fun stuff. All right, other than that, we're going to start simple. So, as a little bit of a premise for our audience to let you guys know what is going on, our characters are going to be amnesiacs who are going to be waking up in the Levant territory in 1135. For those of you who don't know what the Levant territory is, the Levant territory is basically the Kingdom of Jerusalem, the County of Tripoli, the Principality of Antioch, and the County of Edessa. They're going to be waking up in that territory as an amnesiacs, only remembering fragments of their past. So we're here today to go ahead and figure out who these characters are going to be, and to go ahead and introduce you as the audience and also them some of the special rules that will be included, as they are the children of the cup and not children of Cain. Ooh, mysterious. Anyways, so
Not
bringing
sure
us
what that's
in,
going to be
yeah. We are going to go ahead and, for our main first character that we're going to work on, since he's here in image, and Jay, make sure to go ahead and follow along with us. Over on Roll20, I'm going to have you open up your character sheet, Dorian, and we are going to go down the list. Hey, Master, welcome to the show. We're going to go down the list of stuff for you to create your character. All right. So first things first. Character concept. Clan, nature, and demeanor. The most important of things, which is really only just clan.
Yeah.
And what you're thinking about playing for this particular story.
It's going to be a hard one. A text appeared here for us on screen, I think, from Jay. He seems quite Frenchy on the side of La Sombra.
Yeah, he's going with the
Something
La Sombra, with the separated La instead of the one word La
separate,
Sombra.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So that might be where Jay is going. I don't know.
I'm pretty sure Jay has confirmed that he's definitely doing La Sombra.
Okay, so he's going to be dark and shady and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, he's gonna have those beautiful obtenebration powers.
Yes. They like Umbramancy or something like that.
Fun stuff, tentacles in the darkness. What?
Yeah. I was really doubting and still sort of am which clan to choose because I've got like these two which I want to sort of choose between. So on the one side I want an Assamite.
Mm-hmm.
One of the reasons being Keith, but I don't want to make an entire repeat of the last one, and the other one's
Right.
Setite.
Keith was a really good character. I'll admit. I'm kind of sad that we ended that campaign due to time.
Yeah, I miss him.
Yeah, I do miss
I
Keith
miss
as
playing
well.
him.
Yeah.
He was fun
Um,
to play. So
so you
I
said
think,
either Azamite and kind of reviving Keith, but for the Middle Ages, is a
yeah,
possible
very
idea.
different. It would be a very different character, of course, because it would be a totally different person. But
Right.
the archetype of what he's able to do would be somewhere in the same ish branch. Although I'm not entirely sure in the Middle Ages if the Assamites can actually diablerize because they were at some point cursed to
Well,
be unable to do that.
fun story. This is Dark Ages vampire, and in Dark Ages vampire, this is before like some of the heavier sides of the curse set in.
Huh.
So actually, Azamites are all about Amaranthine. Yeah,
Also, this is before that curse set in because I know they were cursed at one point because a lot of clans were sort of really unhappy with their eating other people,
Oh
other
yeah,
vampires.
oh yeah.
So that might be an interesting one to do, to be a real bastard.
Well,
To one of the
to, to
kindred.
to give you kind of a glimpse into the Azamites of this period, um, they actually have one of their. You have to get really far into the blood magic of the Azamites, but if you go into the blood magic of the Azamites, one of their discipline powers for the blood magic of the two blood magic schools that they have is they actually know how to trap the soul in vials that they can consume at whatever time they want, and that will be the act of diablerie. Yeah.
That sounds rather amazing.
You,
But
yeah.
here's the whole thing with blood magic, as in that's the other reason why I tend to stick to Tremere or Essamite, is because I love blood magic.
Yeah.
It's magic.
Yeah.
You can be a blood wizard, as in who doesn't want that?
And also, you have to
Um,
keep in mind because this is the Dark Ages, the Tremere are a lot more hated than normal. Uh,
yeah, because they're sort of new, I think, still.
yeah, the newest of the clans, and oh boy, don't meet a Zamichi in a dark alley at all.
That would be really creepy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's sort of the whole blood magic thing is also like the one thing that's sort of still keeping me back from playing the Setite. On the other hand, it would be a different experience, sort of
Right.
getting away from blood magic for once. Um, but yeah, oh god, I liked SMX way too much, I think. So yeah,
They are a beautiful clan.
they are
Yeah.
absolutely.
I myself find myself often like wanting to play an Azamite or in modern, knights, Banu Hakim. But I haven't done a Bruja yet, but I like their disciplines. Um, but I do a lot more Gangrel characters for some reason.
To let the beast out a bit, I'm guessing, but not too much, just a tiny bit.
Yeah,
Can be a lot of fun too.
it can be. It definitely can be. So there's quite a few fun options for you here to choose from. I don't know. So to help you guys out a little bit, 1135 is actually not gonna be the year that your characters remember being in. The year that your characters will remember being in is 1 second. I have to go to my notepad. So I can. Oh, this is in this folder, and then where is the script? I have a script, by the way. I'm gonna be creating. I'm either gonna have to read this out at the beginning of the campaign, or I'm gonna create an Audacity like audio file that we'll listen to at the start of the campaign. But the
Oh
last
dear.
year, yeah, the last year you guys will remember is actually 1105.
About 30-ish years before
Exactly 30 years before.
that.
Now that will be the where your last memories are.
Yeah. Hmm. SMI's really interesting, but I feel like the other option hasn't been explored very much yet. 'Cause
Uh,
the thing with the followers of Set is that they sort of follow the Set in serpent form, more like Uphead than the actual modern Set with the jackal head. And
yeah.
the reason why I like the idea of that is because I really like Conan, the barbarian,
Mm-hmm.
who has the serpent set, which is like a god of chaos and sorcery in that. But then again, I do think that a ministry character would be more fitting or more fun to play in modern knights, where they're like these vice mafia kind of characters. Not entirely sure. I don't know much about the clan in the other periods, like back
Um,
in the
Jay is saying he also has in mind. Well, either Jay is saying he also has this in mind, or maybe he's suggesting it to you, one or the other. But he's mentioned True Bruja, which is the keepers of time, one could say, because they have a bunch of fun timey wimey time powers.
Basically, Doctor Who the Vampire Edition.
Exactly, exactly. But the
Oh,
Doctor
with
Who
Wibbly
who
Wobbly.
cares less about like traveling around in the and more about like reading heavily into books.
Yeah.
He's suggesting it as a possible option for you. He says he's too new to try them.
Yeah. Timey-wimey powers.
Timey-wimey
I, I,
powers.
I, I don't really know about those. I'm gonna have to open the book, I
I'll
think.
admit I'm also not well versed in my true Bruja knowledge.
Hmm. But you know what? I do think that it does sort of stand out that I'm sort of trying to find a reason not to play Assamite, but on the other hand, I want to play an Assamite too much, so I don't think I'm gonna get there. So perhaps just to make it easy on myself and everyone else, I'll just fill in Assamite. That might be an idea.
Okay, it has been decided. All right. And honestly, I can't blame you for the choice. It is a really, really good choice.
I love that clan way too much, man.
Okay. So we're looking at an Azamite and a Lasombra. Very interesting. Okay.
I'm so curious for the third. The third
So,
character's not here
yeah, our third character isn't here yet, but we'll be more than likely having a session 0 with them in the soon to come future. All right. So, when it comes to the next question, it becomes the hardest question of them all. What is your character's name?
yet. Oh yeah, that is always the hardest one, isn't it? I usually leave that for last since it tends to take like as long as I can stretch the answer to that.
We can certainly leave it for last. I mean, it is one of the toughest questions, if not the toughest.
Yeah, because I tend to come up with a list of names by the end of like a week, and then I'll be like, which one shall I use? Which one do I like most? That sort of thing.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, then for
So that's the
now,
really hard question.
what we are going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to sort of ignore nature, demeanor, and choose concept thing right now. You guys can go ahead and do that on your own time. What we will do though is we're going to go into selecting our attributes. So, Jay, because you're so new, on your character sheet, you'll see an area called attributes. And what you're going to have is you're going to have a primary, secondary, and tertiary attribute group. So, for instance, excuse me, if I want to make a character that is focused on physical, my primary attributes are going to be my physical attributes. If I want to make a character who is more of a socialite, my primary attributes are going to be my social. And if I want to be someone who's more book-wise or very perceptive or very witty, then I'm going to go for mental as my primary attributes. And what we're going to do is we're going to choose one of those groupings, that physical, that social, or that mental, and we are going to put 7 dots into your primary attributes. So choose one of either physical, social, or mental, and put 7 dots into the following 3 attributes. For physical, it would be strength, dexterity, stamina. For social, it would be charisma, manipulation, and appearance. And for mental, it would be perception, intelligence, wits. Jay says he'd like to go mental. All right. So Jay is going to prioritize mental as his primary with perception, intelligence, wits. And what are you thinking, Dorian?
I'm not entirely sure yet. When it comes to blood magic, the most obvious choice tends to be the mental attributes as well.
All right.
Although, yeah, I'm also not sure what what Azzy is planning, since it would be kind of fun if everyone has a different main focus.
It would be, yeah. So here's what I'd like to ask Jay, because Jay, like I said, is on his phone, and he's limited to text only, but he can hear us. Jay, do you want to, out of your 7 points, what do you want the highest amount of points to go to in your mental? Do you want it to go to your wits? Do you want to go to your intelligence, or do you want it to go to your perception? Tis the question. Intelligence, he says. Intelligence. Very well. All right. Now, there is a max, I believe. Let me see here. Ba-ba-ba-ba-bum. Da-da-da-da-da-dum. Let me double check here. All characters begin with one free dot in each attribute. You start with 0 dots in appearance. Is there a limit to what you can put into your dots? So, because you guys at the current generation of 12th, unless you decide to eventually put points into generation, when it comes to that particular backgrounds area, with your points, we're looking at you going no further than over 5, I do believe. Yeah, 5 is your max trait. So for intelligence, 1 through 5, this being your highest of the mental with 7 points to play with, would you start with 1 in each of them automatically. So the question becomes, do you want to put 4 points into intelligence to have that max of 5, or do you want to put 3 points into intelligence? He says intelligence 4. There we go. He wants to go with wits 2. Okay. And he will have a perception of 1. 3, 4. So you have 3 points left over, by the way. Because you start with 1 point in perception, intelligence, and wits. So you still have 3 points to play with here, because you've only used 4 of your points. You've put 3 of your points into intelligence, 1 of your points into wits.
Oh, wow.
Okay, I see what you're saying. So he wants to go instead 5 intelligence. Then he wants to go 3 wits. And he wants to go 2 perception in that case. Okay. So those are your 7 points spent for your primary attributes, Jay. And what did we decide over on your side, Dorian?
I am wondering, and I know this is a bit meta, but when it comes to the secondary stats, how many points do you get to spend in those?
For our secondary is the secondary is going to be 5 dots.
5, so 2 points less. I am wondering, because I'm really tempted to go with the mental attributes as well, especially since Blood Magic is mainly focused on that. But the other thing is, I would like to go for a more charismatic character again, whereas although the awkwardness of Keith was sort of under, I'm sort of doubting, but I'm afraid if I go with the whole mental attribute, that I'll get the same thing.
Right.
The question is that bad?
What I would say is it's totally cool having either your mental as your primary or your mental as your secondary.
As long as it's not tertiary, because that would be mental probably.
Yeah, as long as it's not tertiary. Then the question becomes, were you trained as an Azimite as a vizier or a warrior? Because if you were trained as a warrior, then your primary or secondary, depending on what you want to do with mental, has to go to physical. If you were trained as a vizier, then your tertiary has to be physical, and social has to either be your primary or secondary.
Yeah, that's what I'm sort of wondering. I
How
think it
much
might depend.
time would you have spent in the School of Blades?
That is a good question because I do like the idea of the warrior. So yeah, I might actually go for the um, secondary physical and first mental. It's going to lean close to Keith, but the question is if it's a bad thing. I don't know. It's going to be different anyway. Uh, not going to be the same character, I think. But it was a lot of fun to play, so I'm guessing it can't really hurt.
Hmm.
In that case, I would toss 3 extra points into perception, 3 extra points into intelligence, and then the leftover into wits. So he wouldn't be as witty, but he would be deceptive and capable of his blood magic, I'm guessing.
Okay.
Because the intelligence is very important for blood magic, I think, usually. Is that the same still, or was that the same back in the V20?
Let's double check on that for you. So,
Else I might redistribute, but bit meta, I'm aware.
I think Gifts of the Blood is 188. So let's see here. I am looking for a very specific pledge. There are a lot of disciplines. A whole lot more than people who play Vampire are used to, more than likely. Especially if you've been playing a lot of V5 recently.
Yeah, because
Uh,
it's like stylized in comparison.
we're not looking for Obtenebration. We're looking for a different one. Quietus. Here we go. So,
Willpower and perception, is it all?
Quietus is going to be mainly focused with. Let's see. Two disciplines best known colloquially as Quietus, but not only those practicing the arts. Da, 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 da. Okay.
Pardon.
Let me try and read their systems and
Yeah, I'm
see.
looking for them as well, but then
So, Quietus starts on page 244.
mhm. First ability Blood Essence, I believe. Yeah, I do notice that in this book they didn't really think of splitting up like the crucial information in small segments.
Yeah, no. No, they did not. Okay,
It's like
so I'm
one massive
seeing
block.
Occult. I'm seeing. Let's see, what else am I seeing? Willpower. Let me see.
A lot of willpower, yeah.
Is there anything else outside of Occult and Willpower? Um, there's a lot of fluff text in the system text. That's kind of the problem.
Yeah, it's all mixed together, the entire fluff and system, and it makes for one massive block of text without much
Right.
clear cut. This is what you have to do. It's unfortunate, but yeah. Then again, it's an older book, so I do more easily find what the defendant is supposed to roll, but
There's a dexterity athletics roll in here. Um, there's stamina. Occult is one that I'm seeing. Um, let's see here.
a lot of willpower though. Is that dependent on anything?
Um, yeah, there's just a ton of willpower rolls in here.
It might actually be worth it to make the mental stats the secondary stats.
I think you could get away with it. Let's check the other quietus, Hamadas. And let's see. So Hamadas, first off, I see intelligence crafts. Next up, I see willpower, as well as perception subterfuge. Next up, I'm seeing willpower. Let's see here. Next, after that, willpower, I'm seeing a charisma empathy.
That's different.
I am seeing a manipulation intimidation along with willpower. Let's see here. Perception empathy. Willpower. And wits intimidation. And a manipulation occult. Yeah. So it's kind of all over the place.
It's a bit all over the place, but it doesn't really matter that much.
Yeah, I'd say if you're looking to do the blood magic of the Azimite, focus more on your willpower and have some occult.
And quick question though about willpower, because that works differently than in V5, and I have to remind people and myself, as in I'm not used to V20.
Absolutely.
I only discovered the game through V5, so this is sort of a slightly different rule set. But in V5, it's dependent on a few stats, but we don't have those stats here.
So, your willpower, your character's willpower will dictate their ability to resist temptation and control their actions in trying situations, measured on a scale of 1 to 10. Player will find it useful to raise their character's willpower higher than the average human score of 2 or 3, with far more to tempt the vampire, and with the consequences which will suffice if they succumb. Raising willpower to 4 or higher is wise if you wish your character to last. Okay. But how do you calculate your starting willpower? Is it automatically calculated for you here on this sheet? It is not. So that would have been nice, but hey, let's figure it out. So how do you calculate what your willpower is? Willpower is equal to courage.
Which is?
Let's see here.
There's a lot of differences between systems. We'll figure it out at one point.
Yes, we are going to get all this stuff down packed. How do we calculate your courage becomes the next thing.
Calculate this, calculate that, and now you calculate this, and then you might know what this means. Sorry.
Let's see here. Road score. Blood pool, willpower, freebie points. As part of MI, prelude, virtues, backgrounds, disciplines, abilities, attributes, nature, demeanor, road, overall concept. Where do we... Is that included in the freebie points, perhaps? Each player will receive freebie points to spend at the end of character creation to help customize the character that they have in mind. Referring to the chart on 158. Okay, so 158. Distribute 15 points among attributes, abilities, advantages. Bear in mind what raise certain traits means for the world around you. At 4 or 5 places. No. Okay. Huh. It actually does not clearly tell me where you get your courage from. That's fun.
That is interesting. Though, is it a known concept in V20, or is this just a Dark Ages thing, your courage?
I'm pretty sure it's a known concept in V20.
Then we should perhaps
I think
Where's the core
possibly
book?
your courage. Is it the same as your road rating? No, I don't think it would be the same as your road rating. Um. Hmm.
Courage.
We're gonna figure this out.
The word encourage is used a lot in the core book.
It is, yeah.
a a heck of a lot. High courage and willpower. One of the descriptions of the Tremere effect. It's considered a virtue.
Oh, it's considered a virtue. Okay, well,
In
haha, I
the
have a thing for
main character sheet.
virtues. So for virtues, let's see here. Virtues. I just saw it too. Here we go. Virtues. Virtues run from 1 to 5, where a rating of 1 is the bare minimum requirements, and 5 means fulfilling the virtue with excellence. The sum dots in your road virtues determines your road rating, which will play a role in shaping with your character feels is morally wrong, spiritually defunct, and will have an effect on those who sense her moral orientation. Your character's willpower rating will start out equal to your courage. Keep this in mind when allocating points among virtues and when you consider what to spend your freebie points on at the end of character creation. Okay.
But it's mainly there that I get to edit that, basically. Hmm.
And here's the thing for the virtue. Okay. So, in this part of the advantages stuff, so virtues, you get 7 points in virtues, and your character automatically receives 1 dot in each virtue. So that
Okay.
answers that question for you.
That's where we're gonna get that.
There we go. That huge roundabout, like looking around, all came down to 7 dots, but you start with 1 in each. There you go. Have fun with that, kiddo.
All right. Useful.
All right.
Yeah, but then at least we know that we don't need to put attributes in specific places to have advantage of that, and that's useful to know.
That is useful to know, yeah.
So yeah, now I'm really doubting whether I would toss the mental to either secondary or tertiary option, because I do know now that I want physical as my primary. If I take social as secondary, then it's going to be rather, or as tertiary, it's going to be rather simple, and it'll just toss everything into appearance and leave the rest at 1, which could also make for odd situations, I guess, because he wouldn't be able to talk still, but he would at least look good. That is an option. But yeah. So 7. What makes 1, 2, 3?
This is all very interesting. And remember, folks, we're only figuring out the primary attributes for.
Yeah.
We haven't moved anywhere else.
Sorry about that.
Cam's going down for a few seconds. Yeah. I turned it off. It's fine.
Yeah, I'm currently thinking let's do the as the main stats go physical in that case with
Okay.
the SMIs and take
So your physical becomes your main. All right. So what is going to be your secondary? So here, Jay, we need to decide for you what your secondary is going to be, social or physical, and for Dorian, we need to decide if it's going to be social or mental. And you're going to get 5 points to distribute. Remember that you're starting with 1 in each. Jay says that he says he's actually done his homework up to the tertiary skill points. Funny.
Oh, he's a lot faster than I am. No surprises there.
So Jay, where would you like your points to go? Because I'm currently on your character sheet right now, putting things in as you tell me. He says he's going to do physical as his secondary. He's going to have a strength of 4, a dexterity of 3, and a stamina of 1. Ooh, stamina of 1. Risque. All right. Very interesting. And now he's like, what do you mean
Um,
risky? And I'm like, no, nothing. You don't
I
even have
think
to worry about it. All right,
I'm
3.
thinking of balancing it slightly bit more, but I'm not entirely sure.
All or nothing with this bookworm.
Yeah,
All right, and then that's
that's one way
strength
to put it.
4. All right, fantastic. And what have you decided to go with your spread?
I'm thinking either strength 2 or 3, and then dex 3 or 4, depending. Stamina on 4. Then secondary perception on 4, intelligence and wits both on 2.
Okay,
Then charisma 1, manipulation on 1, and appearance on 4, I think it would be.
that is a bold choice. All right. In that
Because
case,
it seems funny.
Jay, with your tertiary, you've got 3 dots to spend. Where would you like them to go in your social category? So we're talking about your charisma, your manipulation, and your appearance. These are the things we want to figure out. So, Jay has answered. And the answer would be yes, only 3 points. Yeah.
Yep,
He's
that's
like,
the
wait a
first
minute,
thing.
tertiary. Why am I
That's
only
what
working
you're
with
bad
3?
at.
Yeah, this is what your character's deficient in. It says
So,
charisma 2, manipulation 1, appearance 0. All right, so we put no points into appearance. You're not actually at appearance 0, you're at appearance 1.
kind of funny that we have two characters whose social skills are like lacking rather a lot.
Okay, so we're going charisma 2. So, there we go. And then he wants manipulation with 1 point in there. So your actual spread is charisma 3, manipulation 2, appearance 1. All right. And that is the primary, secondary, and tertiary all decided for the attributes. All right, now it comes into more of the nuance of your character.
Yes.
So here is where we go into the advantages. So what we're going to start off with is, or not the advantages, the abilities, my bad.
Oh, wasn't that?
Yeah,
Wondering.
so we're going to go to once again, we're using the primary, secondary, tertiary thing here. And it's going to be 13 for your primary, 9 for your secondary, and what is it, 5 for your tertiary? Yeah, 5 for your tertiary. And what this is going to be is, are you primarily going to be a talented person, a skilled person, or a knowledgeable person? And I have a guess with Jay, it's going to be knowledges.
Most likely. So, can you repeat the point distribution, by the way? It was 13 to start, then 9?
Yeah, it's going to be 13, 9, then 5.
Right.
So, he says, yes, knowledgeable. Okay, Jay, so with your 13 points, starting from actually 0 this time, in the knowledges, we have academics, enigmas, hearth wisdom, investigation, law, medicine, occult, politics, seneschal, and theology. And if none of those fit the knowledges that you want, you can also tack on custom knowledges. If none of those categories fit what you're looking for in your character. If you need an explanation of any of those, feel free to ask. Can you please repeat? Absolutely. So we're looking for, under the knowledges tabs, we have academics, we have enigmas, we have hearth wisdom, investigation, law, medicine, occult, politics, seneschal, and theology. If you need any of those explained to you, I can do that for you. Just ask. He wants to know, what is the one before theology? The one before theology is Seneschal. Let me look that up for you real quick so I can tell you exactly what Seneschal covers. Excuse me. So Seneschal it's going to be, you will never be caught flat-footed with a surprise hunting party. True experts can tell at a glance the quality of other people's households. Ferreting out hidden dust and half-shined silver that falls beneath the notice of others. You are the oil that allows the gears of a great house to run smoothly. You handle the books and the market accounts. You met Seneschal is what you actually do in real life, Jay. Right now, what you're doing right now in real life as your accounting job. That's Seneschal. To give you more of an example, if you put one dot in Seneschal, you are a novice. You can manage a small household of 3 to 5 people, keeping food available and ensuring the standards are presentable. If you put 2 points into Seneschal, you are a student. You can manage a modest manor house or oversee a small business. You have mastered double entry bookkeeping and other basic skills that will serve you well. If you put 3 dots into it, you are learned. Multiple properties are under your care, and your excellent planning allows your estates to have bread, even during shortages from famine or war. If you put 4 points into it, you're a scholar, and you wrote the book on running a household. No minutia is beneath your notice. When you host kings and queens, the details matter. And if you put 5 points into it, you are a master. Not to overstate the case, but you can turn 1 loaf into 2 and double the size of a wine cellar with a mere word. Lords and ladies pay a pretty penny for you to handle their great estates. That is what Seneschal is. How good of an accountant are you? That's what that's all about. Okay, can I ignore loads of these topics and focus on others? Absolutely. You can. You absolutely can. Other than Seneschal, you have, you can focus on the occult, theology, politics, medicine, law, investigation, hearth wisdom, enigmas, and academics. Those all fall under knowledges. And if you can think of something that doesn't fall under those particular ones, you can create your own. He says he'd like to do academics too. Hearth. It's not earth, it's hearth. Wisdom 3, medicine 3, occult 4, theology 1. Okay, so let's do academics 2. It's going to be, let's see, here we go. Hearth, yes, yeah.
Like a hearth? As in...
if you want a explanation of hearth, give me 1 second here. Hearth wisdom. Hearth wisdom is knowledge such as, what berries can you eat? Will it rain tomorrow? What's the best remedy for whooping cough? This wisdom is not found in books, but from sitting at the knee of people wiser than you and spoken in sewing circles and market stalls. They know the cures, and they know the reasons to be afraid of the dark. That's hearth wisdom. Okay. Let's see. Medicine 3. He would like... Let's see here. Goes well with medicine, he says. Yeah, it does. Occult 4. He would like... Theology 1. Okay. Now, with an occult of 4, and I should have mentioned this for intelligence as well, and your strength. So you actually have the ability, for those of you who reach 4 points in anything, to have a speciality in that thing. So, for instance, for your occult, you could be like, occult 4, I know a lot about vampires, or I know a lot about a witchcraft. For things like your strength, you could be... specialized in maybe Maybe you're someone who's wiry. Maybe you're someone who's burly. Things like that. With your intelligence, perhaps you know a lot about. That's a tough one. Intelligence. There's a lot of things that could fall under. You could say learned under your intelligence speciality. By the way, my cam's going to be coming back up. Let's get that set. Ha-ha. And while Jay is thinking about his specialities, what have you gone for your primary of 13, Dorian?
For primary, I figured I'd go to skills. So let me recount this really quickly. Yes, it should be 13. So putting 5 points in melee, which seems sensible when you're an Assamite warrior sort of thing.
Okay.
Then 3 points in archery,
All right.
3 in stealth,
Okay.
2 points in ride, so horse riding, I'm guessing.
Mm-hmm.
And that would be 13 points, I believe.
Fantastic. What's gonna be your What's gonna be your melee speciality?
I really would like to say spear.
Okay. Spears. All right.
I
So
like the idea of that.
yeah. All right.
It's not exactly stealthy, but
Doesn't exactly have to be.
doesn't have to be. It's yeah.
Certainly not
So
hiding it under a cloak.
no, there's no way of hiding a spear. As in, it's going to
Yeah.
be very hard.
And while we're on that line of thought, let's quickly go up to your attributes, Dorian. And what would you like your specialty in perception, appearance, dexterity, and stamina to be?
Oh, you've got specialities in that as well.
Yeah.
For perception, I am wondering because I am thinking if he's an Essamite, that I would be more of like rather than the visor, being more focused on the warrior side of things. Well, that's what the attributes seem to reflect at least. I also like the idea of that. So perception, I'm thinking something like ambushes. Is that something I can put in there?
Ambushes would fall more under alertness, whereas perception would be something more broad spectrum, like very sharp with the eyes, or eagle-eyed, things like that.
Hmm. No idea what it means, but we could do that.
Yeah, think of
Oh,
your
vision
attribute
something.
specialities as being like something that's an umbrella,
Hmm.
whereas your ability specialities are more focused.
So, for example, it would be more like relying on eyesight as the speciality
Yeah,
rather than, for
is it one of
example,
your
smell.
sense of smell? Like you're really good at smelling each ingredient in food or something like that.
I am wondering because in nature, vampires don't have dark vision unless, for example, they are uh, able to change their eyes. It's not animalism; it's protein, I think, but that's V5. So I'm not sure how it is in V20.
I can check Protean real quick to see if it still falls under the same umbrella in
Because if
V20.
it's a discipline, it's not really a thing I can do. But I could, for example, say that he's not really impaired by nighttime. But that could, for example, be outside. For example, is good at looking around during the night outside, rather than, for example, if it's a completely black room, it's going to be hard. But if there's stars out, if there's moon out,
Like
then he has
essentially,
plenty of
to coin a term from D&D, low light vision.
dark, yeah, low light vision, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Would that be something that could be put in there?
I would say yeah. Let me double check with Protean real quick here. Now, Eyes of the Beast is a thing. It does
Yeah, that
exist here, but I'd be willing to allow your character to have said, "I've worked a lot in the dark, and while I can't work in like pitch black with
yeah,
the
that
Eyes of the
would be a
Beast,
problem. Yeah.
I'm used to low light conditions." whether it be from
Right.
hours of reading over texts by just
In the dark.
candlelight.
Yeah.
Yeah, or things like
So
that.
I'll fill in low light vision in that case. That seems to be a good idea.
Yeah.
Um, then Dex and Stamina.
Dex, stamina, and appearance.
And
You're a
appearance
very
as well.
smexy man.
Yeah. How do you have a speciality in that? Is what I am wondering because that's, I'm gonna have to look for examples. Um.
I would say, oof, that's tough.
Yeah.
A speciality for appearance perhaps might be something along the lines of I'm saying words to extend my thought process time.
Sort of in the line of what you just said, being a smexy man, could it, for example, be, let's say, it's more his, not, it could be his face, of course, but it could also, for example, be the body shape, which might
Yeah, yeah,
be
visually
something.
appealing,
Yeah,
or hmm.
or generally like sexually attractive to people, something like that. As in, he might be dim-witted when it comes to speaking, but he is at least attractive.
Yeah.
I'm gonna fill that in. Sexually attractive in general, I guess. It's like he's so average that it's interesting.
He's the
Which
average that's like,
that everyone
man,
likes to see. Like
I really like to
the
see Dave out there working with the bees. He's kind of cute as a beekeeper. Like, God, I didn't know that I
ah,
had this attraction, but uh, beekeepers.
it's the
That's
weird thing
that's the
about
kind of attraction he has.
yeah. Here's the weird thing about being ridiculously average, but apparently that's what's most attractive to people because it's most average. It's what they're used to seeing most,
Yeah.
which is really weird in a sense because you think like it's an odd. You would think the odd one out is the attractive one, but it's actually the other way around.
And while you're
Mm.
thinking of your dexterity and stamina one, Jay, have you thought of one for your occult? What do you, when it comes to your occult studies, what have you specialized in?
Oh, I heard a voice.
I don't know really what can I choose. Well, with the occult, there's a myriad of subjects you could choose. You could be particularly knowledgeable about Canaanites. You could be particularly knowledgeable about werewolves, mages, ghosts, demons. The list keeps going on and on and on and on. Just general folklore. There's so many subjects to choose from. Can it be miscellaneous? Well, seeing as we're in the abilities, unfortunately, it does have to be like a focus. This isn't an umbrella one. This is more of a zoomed in focus. If this was one of the attributes, absolutely it would be an umbrella thing. Jay is typing. What about angels and demons? Yeah. So, oh god, what is the exact term for the study of angels and demons? There's a word for it. Oh, let me look this up. What is the term for someone who studies angels and demons? Angelology. Well,
That's a way less impressive word than I sort
that
of
is
expected.
way less impressive than I thought it would be. But yeah, would you like to be
Very
specialized in
anticlimactic.
angelology? There you go. He says, yeah, absolutely done.
Angelology.
Angelology. Okay. Next up for your mental, you have an intelligence of 5. So what is your umbrella
Good fail.
intelligence going to be? Is it going to be bookworm? Is it going to be something like that? Angelology. Oh my god. Bookworm definitely, he says. All right, so intelligence is going to be bookworm. Fantastic. What is your strength speciality? Because you have a strength of 4. So is it going to be wiry? Is it going to be burly? What's your strength speciality? Burly, he says. All right. So, when you see this character, when you see this Lasombra, just know that you're walking into a bookworm who's got some muscles and looks like he's the bully. But in truth, he's a teddy bear inside. All right. Let's see here. All right, so it's gonna cover your primary abilities. What will be your secondary abilities? Your
Probably bookworm.
secondary abilities here, Jay, are going to be 9 dots in totals. So is it going to be skills? Is it going to be, or is it going to be talents? Skills is things like animal kin, archery, commerce, crafts, etiquette, melee, performance, ride, stealth, survival. Talents will be alertness, athletics, awareness, brawl, empathy, expression, intimidation, leadership, legerdemain, or subterfuge. Skills or talents. And while you're thinking about that, what is your dexterity and stamina speciality, Dorian?
Um, so
Uh,
I was looking through the examples. I'm sort of doubting between lightning reflexes or feline grace for dexterity. I think lightning reflexes might be most life saving.
that could definitely be life saving.
Um,
Jay says he's going to put his secondary in skills. All right. So with your 9 points in skills, where do you want to allocate them? You're looking at animal kin. This is how well you get along with animals. You're looking at archery. You're looking at commerce. You're looking at crafts, which is creating anything with your hands. You're looking at your etiquette. This is how you handle yourself around people of import. You're looking at your melee skill, your performance, your ride, your stealth, your survival. Where do you want to spend your 9 points? And with your stamina, Dorian, are we looking at maybe marathoner, maybe sprinter? Um,
mm, I was kind of wondering how this sort of reflects as in the examples that we currently have as style as determined, tough as nails, vigorous. Um, yeah, I'm not entirely sure what they mean by tough as nails. I understand it
tough as
probably
nails. You
means
can take a
something
lot
like,
of damage and keep standing.
yeah, this would be useful. On the other hand, I'm like, perhaps like more like Mind Fortress or something, which would probably be more determined. Mind Fortress is probably a bit of an overstatement, but
Jay is doing his calculations as to what he might possibly want out of those skills.
got those filled in already. Yeah, but I could just go for the tanky thing and just pick tough as nails, but
You could.
Oh, why not?
He says he'd like animal ken too. So, you know, when he walks up to a cat or a dog, he's totally cool with petting them.
Mm.
He would like crafts 4. He's good with his hands, chat. What's your speciality in crafts? He'd like etiquette 1. And he'd like survival 2. So is he a carpenter? Is he... Ooh, potions and brews, he says. Potions and brews.
Interesting.
Okay. So... There we go. Alright. Fantastic. Alright. So I can whip out that anti-garlic antidote. Aha! We found, as I had mentioned before, for those of you just joining us, or for those of you who didn't catch it at the beginning, Jay does not know everything about the vampire system. So this actually goes under the his anti-garlic comment here is hilarious because Jay, you
Mm-hmm.
don't have to be allergic to garlic. In fact, most garlic doesn't do anything to any vampires. Period. Yeah. He says, "I know garlic does nothing. Just healing potions." Ah, I got you.
Wonderful.
Things like
Although
that.
we once had one vampire that's
Yes.
yeah, he didn't like garlic quite a lot, I
Yeah.
believe.
Yeah. There are folklore banes. And
It
garlic
can
is one of the
happen.
folklore banes, as well as crosses. And
Hmm.
silver can be folklore banes that you can take. So, you know, when you touch that silver piece of jewelry, it totally does aggravated damage against you.
But that's fun.
So, what did you choose for your secondary abilities, Dorian?
Secondary abilities. Have a look at. Yeah, that looks like it with the talents.
Okay, talents. And what did we go for?
I went with alertness 3,
Okay.
1 point in athletics, and 3 in awareness.
Oh, okay. All right, cool. Okay.
So no specialities there, I believe, because there's no one with 4 points. I was
None
doubting
there.
whether to do
Yeah.
lower one or higher one. I was like, meh, just leave it like this.
And I see you've already got your tertiary filled out. So, what is your occult going to be for speciality?
I am thinking anything that has to do with blood magic, but that is like a very wide spectrum, I'm thinking.
That is a very wide spectrum thing. Yeah.
So, blood magic rituals, perhaps? Is that a thing?
Um.
Or let's look into the examples again.
Well, yeah. What are the examples? Could you
Let's see
possibly
if I
put that
can
in there?
find them in the book.
Does it say rituals or does it get more specific?
Gonna have a look at thaumaturgy, see if I can find the right position in this book. I'm guessing it will be thaumaturgy and not blood magic.
Oh yeah, it'll be thaumaturgy. Absolutely. I can double check on that real quick. Let's see here. Thaumaturgy. Thaumaturgy.
I'm looking in the core book currently because that seems to have more examples.
Chemistry is a thing. Let's see here. Damnation. Ogham. Presence. Potence. Protean. Quietus. The other version of Quietus. Serpentis. Spiritus. Temporis. Valerian. Well, it's Valerian, not Valerian. It's two completely different things. Let's see here. Vicissitude. Blood sorcery. Abyss Mystics.
Oh, there it
Let's
is.
see here.
The PDF is sort of showing blank
Koldunic
space.
Sorcery.
So
Necromancy.
it looks like in the v20 core book that one of the specialties appointed to a cult is rituals for one.
Oh, okay, yeah. So rituals in total. Yeah, here it is. Thaumaturgy is totally a thing.
All right. So should I fill in thaumaturgy in that case?
Would you like more in general rituals, or would you like specifically thaumaturgy? Keeping in
I'm
mind that
thinking
thaumaturgy is
thaumaturgy
a
in general.
discipline that you don't have, I don't think. Do Asmites get thaumaturgy?
Let's put rituals. That might make more sense since it's not the same discipline. Indeed, I sort of
Yeah.
forget.
Yeah,
Um,
instead, this time around, you actually have your proper discipline
yes,
of
it's different.
quietus.
Yeah. Yes. So that would be rituals.
Hello, Ultimate. We're currently doing character creation with 2 of my players for our Dark Ages v20 game that we will be running in the future. It will be starting on the 15th. And while he goes and he does that, we need to pick your tertiary, which is going to be talents. And we need to find out, Jay, where your 5 points in talents is going to be allocated. For talents, we have alertness, athletics, awareness, brawl, empathy, expression, intimidation, leadership, legerdemain. Actually, don't know how to pronounce that. And
Yeah.
subterfuge. Legerdemain?
Legerdemain. I think Legerdemain's usually used to point out, like, for example, well, it's not lockpicking per se, but things like
Yeah,
lockpicking and pickpocketing, that sort of stuff. So basically,
it's larceny,
the
but
physical subterfuge
right,
rather than the talkative subterfuge.
it's larceny from V5, but instead
Yeah.
this is the older version, so it's Legerdemain. Hey, Dex, how you doing, bud? Good to see ya. Welcome to the stream. So, Jay, you think you want to put some points perhaps into Legerdemain? You've got 5 points to work with in your talents. Question is, where do you want to put them? Uh, 149. There we go. So, Jay would like Brawl 1, Leadership 2, Legerdemain 2. Alright. So, here we go. Brawl 1. Leadership 2, Legerdemain 2. There we go. Alright, that is your abilities filled out. So, now we come over to the advantages. And my cam's going to be coming back up. Ha ha. Alright, advantages. So, you choose 4 points in your disciplines, 5 points in background, and 7 points in virtue, with your character automatically receiving 1 dot in each virtue. Here's going to be my suggestion for the 5 points in advantage, or not in advantages, but backgrounds in particular. Ooh, Jay says he also has his name. He will be going with the character name Serafino Karayan. I hope I didn't butcher the pronunciation that you want for that name. And he says, it translates to Burning Dark One. He said, perfect. Fantastic. Serafino was born this day. All right. Got that in your name section. I'm going to go ahead and do the edit thing and change the name here to Serafino. Save. There we go. Fantastic. Serafino the La Sombra.
By the way, quick question, but on your in the book for Dark Ages, what page can we find like the oversight of what you get when starting a character?
The quick reference sheet is on page 156.
Oh, so I'm like only one page off.
Yes.
Okay.
Let me see here. But yeah, the 5 points that you guys get for backgrounds, I would suggest holding off on those and putting those points in, as
So
due to the beginning of this game.
Yeah.
You guys will definitely be waking up as amnesiacs.
So we don't know.
So you don't know. And you guys will... I'll go ahead and give you guys a light spoiler. There will be a... After the start of the game, there will be a point where we will come to a time jump. After you guys have woken up. And I would say that would be kind of the best place to put your backgrounds, unless you're looking to put points into something like Generation Now.
Quick question, perhaps a follow-up question on that is generation. What does generation entail in v20?
Good question. So, in general, all characters start out as Generation 12. As starting characters, and generation is a background that you can buy points into, which will raise your generation at the start of the game. It's only applicable at the start of the game, so if you want to have a higher generation starting off, this is the time to spend your points. It's a 5-dot background thing that you can get. And the first dot will bring you to 11th. The second will bring you to 10th. The third, 9th. The fourth, 8th. And finally, if you put all 5 of your background points in a generation, you will start off as a 7th generation character.
Yeah, that is quite a bit lower.
It is.
I am curious, though, what it does. What sort of difference does it make?
Okay, so this comes to the generation chart. For instance, a 7th generation character has a blood pool of 20, can spend 4 blood points per turn, and possesses traits at 6 dots. So this means that as a 12th generation character, you cannot have any points over 5. But once you reach 7th generation, you can have points at 6 dots. And the lower generations you get, the higher your points can go. So, for instance, as a 7th generation character, you could have a strength of 6. You could have an appearance of 6. You could have an occult of 6. Things like that. But before you hit 7th generation, you can't go any higher than 5 on anything.
So it does.
Excuse me.
Okay. Oof, tough choice.
It is a tough choice. So you can either hold your 5 points for your backgrounds until you've kind of figured out the area and have had that time skip, and you're able to spend your points to go ahead and get things like a herd,
Yeah.
to get things like a mentor, to get things like resources.
And on the other hand, currently I'm considering it like this, as in now we can. This is an opportunity to use those points indeed on generation, which gives an instant sort of power
Exactly.
boost, which might be harder to get later.
Exactly.
Whereas starting off 30 years since your last memory, you're going to have to start over again from scratch anyway. That's what I'm
Right.
currently thinking. So I might actually, just for the sake of, well, the sort of game we're going with, and there has been a 30-year gap. As in, there's not going to be a morsel alive, sort of, or nearby probably, that remembers him. As in, he's probably got nothing where he's at right now. Seems to make sense to me. So, of course, I don't know how he got the amnesia, but that's the whole point of it. So, I'm thinking it might be interesting. Yeah, I might actually toss all five into generation just to see what the hell is going to happen and build a new life, so to speak, or unlife. I think that might be interesting. Yeah, I'm gonna take that risk.
Jay says, seems like a big difference, but we would be lacking on the rest. Right. But keep in mind, it's kind of hard to have a herd for 30 years when you're missing for those 30 years.
That's what I'm thinking as well. So rebuilding from
Right.
where we come into the game might be part of what drives story, and I think it will be an interesting thing to do. And it's also, yeah, I might as well do that. And why not?
Now, I'm not going to hurt you and say, I want to put points into herd now, and I'll want to put 2 points in herd now. Is that okay? Yes, it's okay. What we'll do is we'll simply say, your 2 points in a herd now will translate to, during the time jump, you've spent time to get that herd of 2 points. So I'm not going to stop you there, but, it's up to you.
In my case, the backgrounds are fixed now, and lost all of it into one thing.
Interesting. Generation 5. So you will be starting as 7th generation. You can go ahead and write that in on your generation tab up at the top of your page.
You won't have anything else, but that's something he can work towards, so that makes it interesting.
Yeah, and that is a good point. All of the backgrounds are something that you can easily work towards getting in
way
roleplay.
harder.
Yeah, whereas generation is a much harder thing to get. Getting things like an alternate identity, allies, contacts, domain, fame. You guys won't actually be starting with a domain. Fame, generation, herd, influence, mentor, resources, retainers, status. That's all things that can be gotten aside from the generation with RP and point expenditures after said RP. So what are you thinking about doing with your points here, Jay? Because let's go back to that page. You've got 4 points to spend on your disciplines. You've got 5 points to spend on backgrounds and 7 points to spend on virtues. Let me check the background options again. Okay, the background options are, let's see here, allies, alternate identity, contacts, domain, fame, generation, herd, influence, mentor, resources, retainers, and status. Allies are mortal associates, friends, and family members. Alternate identity is who you are passing for with corresponding backstory. Contacts is individuals and organizations you can glean information from. Domain is feeding grounds recognized by Canite society. Fame is how far your name and reputation have traveled. Generation is how far removed from Cain the character is. Herd is those with the character may feed upon freely at will. Influence is the character's political influence within the mortal society. Mentor is the Canite individual who guides and assists the character. Resources is income, wealth, and possessions. Retainers are underlings that serve in a domestic, martial, or other fashion. And status is the character's position in relation to other Canites. Alright, Jay has said... Let's see here. Generation, yeah, seems... Just put it on other things because we're amnesiacs. Yeah, that is the complication, yeah. That's why I'm offering you guys the choice. If you don't want to spend it on something like Generation now, you can hold those points until we've done the time skip in the first session.
It does give you time to come up with more story around why or how you have it. He brews a potion. Could brew a potion.
He says contacts 2, resources 2, retainers 1. Alright. So he wants contacts 2. Resources 2. He's gonna be a man of money. 2. And then retainers 1. Okay, that's your backgrounds. What about your disciplines? You have 4 points to spend on your clan's disciplines. And for the Lasombra, let me just go and find the Lasombra real quick here. The Lasombra are going to be on page 50. Let's run over to page 50. The Sombra clan disciplines are Dominate, Obtenebration, and Potence. Whereas the Azimite disciplines are going to be Auspex, Presence, and one of the 2 Quietuses.
I'm going to have to check those real quick to see what the differences are. Also, this book is rather a mess when you're trying to find just about like anything.
Yes.
So I've been trying to find those for a while now, but...
So Quietus is going to be on page... Luckily, I've kind of begun to learn the book, and I have like reference points that I can type my way to. But it's going to be page... Ooh, I think I passed it.
Oh, there's Prospectus on 194, it seems.
Quietus is on page 244. Obtenebration is on page 228 for you, Jay. Let's see here. Dominate is on page... It starts on page 217. And then Auspex is on page... Let's see here. Auspex is on page 194. Seeing as you didn't put any points into generation, your generation will be 12. for you, Serafino. All right. Yeah. Okay. Decisions.
Well, I think when it comes to the two versions of Quietus, I'm going to go with the basic one, I think, since he is obviously more a warrior than a visor.
I would agree with going with the basic one because I
Feels,
like that one a lot better.
it feels more, it fits way better as well, so that helps.
Yeah. So, and the skill that I want you to take a look at in Quietus 1 or Quietus Original is the Ripples of the Heart, I think is in Quietus Original. I believe. Let me just double check. No! Is it Ripples of the Heart? Hold on. Carries the dread of here. No, it's not Ripples of the Heart. It's a different one. It is it Weaken of the Blood of the Ancients? No. It's something of the heart. Blood of Destruction, Taste of Death, Ball's Curse, or Caress. Is it Ball's Caress? No. Taste of Death.
Nope. Far off there.
Rapturous Touch. No, Rapturous Touch is pretty cool though. So check out Rapturous Touch. Weaken the Blood of the Ancients. Blood of Destruction. Blood of Destruction's really good.
Yeah, Theft of Vita is unfortunately the Tremere type of thaumaturgy, apparently.
Quicken the Mortal's Blood is a really good one.
Which is at 5 points, I believe.
Oh, is it under the secondary Quietus that I'm thinking of? Oh man, which is the one where you can trap people's souls?
I think that's going to be the visor one. It's going to be the secondary one, I think. Blood Awakening.
Is it Damn the Heart's River? No.
Quietus starts with Blood Tempering.
Blood Awakening, Condemn the Sins of the Father, Songs of Distant Vitae, Sharpen. Is it Blood Sweat? If a victim harbors a shred of remorse or pride for their actions, induce a torrential outpouring of Vitae? Nope. Nope. Truth of Blood? Nope. Cleansed in Blood. Man, I found it so easily that one time.
What did it do though?
It was the one where you could trap people's souls.
Oh yeah, to trap someone's soul and then to consume it later.
Yeah.
Huh.
Trying to find exactly where that one is. Hold on. It's not Blood Essence, I don't think. Oh, no, it is Blood Essence. It's the first power of Quietus Crucidus. So this power provides definitive proof of a vanquished foe, terrifying to behold. Blood Essence demonstrates one of the most frightening aspects of this discipline, the ability to distill the essence of what Cainites refer to as the heart's blood, the holy or unholy life force that contains a being's soul. Functioning even on mortals, the character must exsanguinate his victim of all but one blood point, or drain all blood points entirely if the victim is a Cainite, and he then pricks his finger and marks the victim's bare chest near the heart with a speck of his vitae. The player spends one blood point, spurring the speck of vitae to seep into the target's skin, then make an extended willpower roll, difficulty 9, imposing a level of unsoakable aggravated damage to the victim per success. As in Diablerie, if the victim remains alert during process, they can fight back, And should a vampire fail on the roll, he must pause, but can continue again next turn. With a botched roll, the effort fails. However, the vampire can still attempt traditional diablerie if the victim is a canite. And once all health levels have been exhausted, the vampire tears open the victim's breast, moving past the ribcage to extract the heart. The vampire's own blood has calcified the heart into a semi-translucent grayish-white flask known as debitum, and the debitum enshrouds the spiritual essence, the heart's blood, of the victim, which, if examined in detail, can be seen encased within swimming in despair. Heart's blood preserved in this way endures indefinitely. If vampiric fangs pierce it, the heart reanimates, pumping a cupful of celadon-colored, aqueous, non-burning flame vaguely resembling the victim into the vampire's maw. If the victim is a canite, upon devouring the essence, the vampire reaps all benefits and potential pitfalls of successfully diablerizing the victim without risking the blood oath. Debitum crumbles to ash if left vulnerable to fire or sunlight, or when emptied of its contents.
That is a ridiculously potent first dot of discipline.
Dot one!
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm sticking with it.
Yeah. The Viziers get the Hamadis one, the Warriors get this one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I am really doubting between, or sort of not sure what to choose here, but I'm thinking of dropping 4 points instantly into one discipline and sort of ignoring the other ones for now.
So Jay is going with Obtenebration 3 and Potence 1. After a bit of study, he says. Obtenebration 3. Okay.
But I'm still looking at the other skills. I'm not entirely clear yet. So,
And
Presence only has one first dot ability. Okay, all of them just have, each level has one ability, it seems. Yeah, I'm wondering if I should put a point in other disciplines as well, or if I'm just going to focus purely on the quieters.
Jay, you have 7 points to spend in either conscious or conviction, self-control or instinct, and courage. I think your conscious, self-control, conviction, or instinct all falls under what road you're on. So let me double check that. Let me go to... Let's see here. Yeah, the sum of your road virtues results in a road score. Yeah. So the question becomes, what road do you guys want to go on?
Oh, wait, what road? What?
What road do you guys want to go on? So, in V5, there is the Road of Humanity, and that's like the only option you have. But seeing as this is Dark Ages V20, there are many roads and paths to choose from. Now, the one that makes the sense the most for those of the Azimite clan is things like the Road of Blood. But the available roads from this book alone are... Oops, sorry. Let's see, what roads do we have in only just this book? Roads. The Road of Humanity. That's the one that you guys are used to from V5. The Road of Heaven. The Road of the Beast. The Road of Kings. The Road of Lilith. The Road of Sin. The Road of Metamorphosis, or one of the minor roads, such as the Road of Bones or the Road of Yasa. And I'm even going to throw in the Road of Blood because I have the rules for the Road of Blood.
I'm not entirely sure what these means. These affect our virtues?
Yes. All right. So, for instance, let's go to the. Let's see here. Do. Of, let's go to The Road We Walk on page 110. 110. A view of roads. Vampires need roads, at least they fall to true monstrosity. But what is a road? They look the part of their mortal counterparts. Small medieval churches, sometimes this means congregations at a Canaanite's basement. Often the means maintaining a neutral meeting ground for some. This can be informal as a tent, blah, 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 blah. A given road's particular values will dictate what constitutes a proper congregation. For example, followers of the Road of the Beast might find a countryside clearing on which to meet, whereas practitioners of the Road of Kings may gather during a mortal noble salon. Blending and commanding the flock in secret. Let's see. Every road organizes differently. Walking a road. By necessity, roads are challenging to walk. Rigor and zeal help to push back the beast. Piety to the road's precepts help a vampire find meaning and purpose in a life that distinctly different than human existence in the dark medieval world. This isn't to say that all succeed. Many Canaanites fall to their beast and become truly monstrous for a short while before being put down by civilized vampires. Upon embrace, a vampire must adopt a road to stave off the beast. And before the formal choice and adoption, vampires default to the road of humanity, and over time a vampire may choose to walk a different road. So you can default to humanity, and then choose a road later in the game once you've found a mentor of that road. But I'm cool with you guys going for one of the roads ahead of time if you want. The easiest would be to just go Road of Humanity. I'll be honest. Or Road of Blood, I think. Might be pretty easy.
I'm wondering where the what page are the roads on?
So the roads respectively are on, let's see here.
Because blood is not in this book, or
Yeah, blood is not in this book. Blood is from a different book. Let's see here. There's Golconda and the Road of the Beast on 115. There's the Road of Heaven on 119. There's the Road of Humanity on 121. There's the Road of Kings on 125. The Road of Lilith on 128. The Road of Metamorphosis on Road 131. And the Road of Sin on 133. And then there's two minor roads given in this book. That is the Road of Bones in 139 and the Road of Yasa in 140.
if you're looking for where this human one.
The human one is on page 121. And there are different paths on the roads, by the way. So there's via Humanitas. There's the path of, I think it's Baresh, the path of community, and the path of illumination. All that fall under the Road of Humanity, I think. I'm pretty sure. Let me double check on this.
To me personally, the Road of Blood, of course, sounds very interesting due to, well, what/who this character is.
There are quite a few Azamites that have the Road of Blood. Let's see.
I happen to know what book that is. I might.
One second. Dark Ages. Road of Blood. Here we go. Via Sanguinis, commonly called the Road of Blood, known as Tariq el-Hakim to Islamic Canaanites. It's one of the minor roads that Kindred may choose to follow in Vampire the Dark Ages and Dark Ages Vampire. It is mainly followed by Azamites, and its followers are called Sentinels. Those who follow via Sanguinis or the Road of Blood are among the most deadly to their fellow Canaanites, as the act of diablerie is almost a rite of purification among the Sentinels. Indeed, one of the main testaments of the road is for its followers to purge all that are unworthy of the blood of Cain and purify the bloodlines. One who shows a dark, dishonorable nature to a follower of Via Sanguinis may be in for a rude awakening. However, diablerizing someone of honor, simply to gain their power, is just as horrifying to other sentinels as it would be to other Cainites. It is because of the tolerance of diablerie on this road that the concept of honor, discipline, and self-control are equally important to the Sentinels. To act rashly is a mark of shame. To allow one's beast to gain control over them is simply damning. And then they have the hierarchy of sins, which rating 10, acting impulsively in any situation. Rating 9, allowing actions to be dictated by emotions. Rating 8 is succumbing to frenzy. Rating 7 is failing to diablerize an unworthy vampire. 6 is acting cowardly or dishonorable. 5 is allowing the unworthy to go unpunished. 4 is showing weakness before the unworthy. 3 is failing to honor an oath. 2 is submitting to the will of an unworthy prince or elder. And 1 is becoming oath-bound to a Cainite.
It is a very interesting one, that. Although...
Jay is saying he would like to go the path of thorns from the road of Lilith. Let me double check something. I don't. There's a question that comes to mind as to if you're allowed to go on the road of Lilith if you're not playing a female character. Because I think Lilith's road is like very restrictive. So I gotta double check that for you, bud. Let's see. Let me find the road of Lilith. The road of Lilith is on 128. Lilith is a complicated figure, yada yada yada. Yeah, here we go. She speaks to the universal context of women as mother, mother as survivor, and woman as catalyst, both for all life as well as all evil. What's more, she is probably real, though what she is and what that means is difficult to fathom. She is or was real, but that reality and the many faces attached to her name are impossible to fully reconcile. The oldest and most dedicated worshippers of Lilith claim their lineage traces back to her and her potent demonic mages, stolen from the gods and brought to Earth. They reject the influences or the importance of Cain as the Allfather and point to historical texts as well as folktale cycles that suggest a pre-Abrahamic time when not all vampires were thought to be from one same progenitor. Alternatively, they look to times when there was something like the Cain myth, but Cain was a woman, or a pair of divine twins, or an angel, and so on. Many claim that their blood is the blood of demons, and that they were never totally human, even before the embrace. Some even claim to have spontaneously become vampires without need of a sire, though none have proven or attempted to prove this to be true. And because her history, and how it coincides with Cainite history, is so conflicted, many of her worshippers have distilled these various stories down to core concepts that seem to apply universally to the many faces of the Dark Mother. It teaches that the children of Lilith are forces of raw creation. Creation hurts, and many pain survived is a lesson that must be studied and celebrated. Those who create with pure abandon and celebrate the wet and fleshy acts of creation will invariably be betrayed by those too afraid or otherwise unable to create. This last point is especially important to the growing cult among the Bahari, who converted from Cainite beliefs and feel a need to connect the Lilith of the road to the Lilith mentioned in Nodist Apocrypha. Nickname is Witches, Bahari, Lilins, Kisalalaki. And the ethics of Lilith: creation is vital, the act of creation is sacred, and like our mother, you must create often and with daring and cunning. Seduce angels, creation is suffering, yada, yada, life teachings, through suffering be a teacher. Initiation, here we go. There are two ways to become part of the road of Lilith: by blood or by bleeding. Some souls, the Bahari claim, are marked as other. By ancient demonic or celestial heritage. The Bahari claim that the auras of these special people possess small marks that only certain Bahari rites can reveal. The Bahari watch these people throughout their lives to see if they should ever enter a state of such intense suffering that they begin to see the truth, or create something so powerful that their ability to create should be preserved forever. Those without these marks are often called to Lilith's faith by personal tragedy, shattering suffering, or a deep intellectual curiosity for the lessons only pain can teach. These people are marked by similar Bahari rites, so that any Bahari can see these marks and observe them for the right time to approach. As a rule, there is no formal organization among the Bahari. Limitations like the binding of Lilith's hair chafe members of this road, and few are willing to create overarching hierarchies. Cult form, share myths, rituals, and... great. So there's no limitations. Okay, great. It looks like it's totally an option. So there you go. You are on the path of thorns for the road of Lilith. So, all right. I'll write in your sins and all that fun stuff. Whew! That was a lot of reading. Okay, so let's go into your character, and we will say the path of thorns. Well, road of Lilith. Path of thorns. Okay. There we go. And then I need to write in your path sins. Actually, I'll just copy paste them to make it easier. To make it easier. History. Which one did I do that for?
By the way, in what book is that? Road of Blood.
Oh, yes. Road of Blood. What book is this in? Will you please tell me? Here we go. It's in the Storyteller's Companion on page 22 of the Dark Ages Vampire Roads and Paths. So let me go. I'll open that up real quick. Storyteller's Companion, page 22. Role-playing games, World of Darkness, Dark Ages 20, Core, Storyteller Companion or Dark Age Storytellers? Yeah, Dark Age Storytellers Companion. Here we go. Storyteller Companion. Give me the good stuff. Page 22. Alright, minor roads. Here we go. Changing to minor roads. Yeah. Road of Blood. There we go. Here's what I'll do. I'll create a snip of this stuff, and I'll post it in the Discord for you.
I wonder if that might be useful. I'm trying to find that book, but I don't think I'll have it.
Okay. Let's go to the snipping tool, new. Copy. Here's the first part of it.
They do have a lot of crimes, like sins.
And then here comes the second part in a second here. Here's the second part of it. You'll have to open up original on that one in order to read it.
In order to be able to read it, yeah.
There you
Hard
go.
choice.
Yeah, it is a very difficult choice.
Because I am thinking, especially since he's disappeared for a long time, I've no idea what happened to him. It might be that he's committed quite a few of those sins on that list without even knowing.
I won't hold that against you guys.
No, but another kindred might.
Yes, that is true.
What I'm thinking.
That is very true. But yeah, all right.
So yeah.
Hierarchy of sins against who you are for the Path of Thorns. So for the Path of Thorns, Your sin starting from number 10 is feeding immediately when hungry. Jesus, that's a strong one for number 10. All right. 9 is joining a system created by those with no wisdom. 8 is ignoring one of Lilith's faces. Ignoring one of Lilith's faces. 7, which is where you'll be starting, is rejecting the suffering of others or dismissing it. 6 is cruelty for its own sake. Yeah, 5 is stealing great learning and claiming it as your own. Don't plagiarize. 4 is destroying a thinking being. Wow. What? That's a little harsh. That's a little harsh.
Wait,
Holy fuck. 3 is not seeking out the teachings of Lilith. Then we have getting between someone and a valuable lesson. And then the last one is shunning pain. Now let's double check to see if that changes at all. In the Path of Thorns. So yeah, in the Path of Thorns, that changes to 9 becomes joining any community of fools. 5 becomes accepting. Hold on. Accepting a student, formal or informal, the first time they come to you. Okay, and then 2 becomes putting the learning of another before your own. My sins are easy. I just with the brainy not much to remember one. Sounds like the rules from my previous university. I don't know that destroying a thinking being one. That is a tough one. That is a tough one. That means you won't be able to kill a human without repercussions. You can't even kill a dog. Oof. I don't know. Would they view animals as thinking creatures?
No idea.
Nope, just humans and vampires. Okay, great. All right, then in that case, yeah, you can kill an animal, but boy, be careful with humans. Okay. So,
I'm personally not entirely sure about the blood. Yeah.
actually, funnily enough, I might have entered all that information into Dorian's sheet by accident because I had both your sheets open. Hold on. Let me double check. Yes, it did. I put that in your sheet, Dorian. My bad. Let me just cut paste this into the other sheet instead. Which is funny because I put the road title and stuff in the right sheet. Hold on, cut, paste. Cruelty for its own sake. Rejecting the suffering. Ignoring one of Lilith's faces. Joining any community of fools. And feeding immediately when hungry. Alright, there we go. Got it. Let's see here.
This is not an easy one to road.
So how's the Road of Blood going for you?
I'm not entirely convinced by it. I've also been looking at the Road of Sin, but I do think that's rather a bit too selfish, rather than not an easy choice. But I do think that the path of pleasure from the Road of Sin is a very intriguing one.
Is he a sexual boy?
Could be.
Could be. By the way, for those of you in the audience who are wondering what the Road of Blood is, the Road of Blood sins are acting impulsively in any situation. The rationale for this is discipline is strength. Sin number 9 is allowing actions to be dictated by emotion. The rationale is passion is the first stirring of the beast. Number 8 is succumbing to frenzy. The rationale for that is our will must be unshakable. Number 7 is failing to diabolarize an unworthy vampire. The rationale is return the blood of the unworthy to Hakim. Number 6 is acting cowardly or dishonorably. The rationale is our actions reflect upon our father Hakim. Number 5 is allowing the unworthy to go unpunished. Rationale being we are the judges of the unliving. Number 4 is showing weakness before the unworthy. And the rationale is we represent Hakim in all things. Number 3 is failing to honor an oath. Rationale being our honor is what sets us apart. Number 2 is submitting to the will of an unworthy prince or elder. Rationale is nothing in this world must sway us from our sacred purpose. Number 1 is becoming oath-bound to a Canaanite. And the rationale is we serve Hakim and no other.
Here's the thing. I like
Too much
this,
Hakim for your soup?
but it's a bit too strict, and I do like the idea of being slightly more free than that.
Like I said, the only reason I suggested this is because most Azamites have this, the Road of Blood.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not saying that you have to go with it at all.
Because when it comes to the Road of Sin, I really like the idea of that, although the thing is, I do think it damages you in a sense where you do sin when you put someone else's needs before your own.
Yeah.
And that could hurt.
For those of you wondering what the Road of Sin is, go ahead.
Yeah, I do like the idea of the road of sin, but then again, being utterly selfish is also not going to help completely. As in,
Yeah, it's a tough road to pick, especially when you know that you're going to be playing with a coterie.
yeah,
Um, but number 10 for the road of sin is acknowledging any authority over your own. Number 9 is failing to indulge a new desire. Number 8 is failing to ride the wave of frenzy. Number 7 is forfeiting long term pleasures for short term ones. Number 6 is putting the needs of others ahead of your own pleasure. Number 5 is swearing an oath. Number 4 is refusing to act against those who attempt to bind you. Number 3 is refusing to feed or kill when necessary. Number 2 is encouraging the tenets or virtues of another road. And number 1 is refusing to act in your own best interest. That's number 1, ladies and gentlemen.
so yeah, one choice that is not in your own best interest, so to speak, will
Right. Now, for the path of
basically any
pleasure,
humane
yeah.
is painful.
Uh,
Although those do those count when you take a path as well, or is this just if you take the overarching one?
so the overarching one is like the baseline, what this is.
Yeah, and the
And then if
rest
you
is
were to
added
go
on top
path
of
of
that.
pleasure, you would change your hierarchy to the path of pleasure hierarchy. So any number that's changed in the path of pleasure becomes changed in the base one. The path of pleasure changes all 10. So the path of pleasure is being shamed by your actions, number 10. Number 9 is failing to indulge your desires. Number 8 is failing to ride the wave of frenzy. Number 7, any display of modesty. Number 6 is putting the needs of others ahead of your own interests. Number 5 is swearing an oath. Number 4 is associating with those who bring you no pleasure. Number 3 is refusing to feed or kill when necessary. Number 2 is encouraging virtue or agents of virtue. And number 1 is still refusing to act in your own best interest.
Mm-hmm. So that stays the same. The rest all changes. Now, so how much of an impact does it have when you break these rules on your character? Because
These
when
rules act
you
like the humanity path that you're so used to. So remember, the further down that you keep going on this path, the more and more the beast takes over until eventually you hit that one and the one goes away and
and it's
suddenly
like
I have your character sheet.
yes. Huh. Yeah, I'm probably not going to choose a path yet if that's all right because I really want to read through all of these and be entirely certain before
If you would not like to choose a path, then you must automatically start with the path of humanity.
for the time being. Yeah.
That is the one that you are most familiar with.
Yeah, but because on the one hand, humanity feels a bit like too humane, and sin feels too inhumane. It's like
No.
it's paths are extreme. I'm guessing by nature.
Mm-hmm. Now, when it comes to switching paths, you usually need to find someone who's on that other path who is willing
Mm-hmm.
to teach you the ways of that path.
Yep.
So if any of you end up in a situation where you're like, man, I started out with this path, but I'm not sure I want to stick with this path, you can go and you can try and find someone who's willing to teach you the other path,
Yeah.
and RP your way into getting into the other path.
I do want to ask if it's all right if I just take another read of all of these before we
Absolutely,
start, and
absolutely.
I'll pick one before we start the actual game. Is that an idea?
Yeah,
Because I'm really tempted by a few of these yet really dislike some of the things at the same time. So it's like, yeah.
it is a tough choice. I'll be
Mhm.
honest. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, in that case, you don't get to choose your
Virtues,
either
yeah.
conscience or conviction or self-control or instinct.
I only have conscience, self-control, and courage on
If
here.
you click on conscious, it'll show you conviction. If you click on
Ah, okay.
self-control, it'll show you instinct.
Okay, so those I can't do, but courage I can do. Or not. I don't know.
So courage, we figured this out earlier, is a virtue.
Oh,
Let's
so it
see
is.
here. And courage decides your willpower.
which
Do
is why I
believe.
think it's rather important for me to fill that out as much as possible.
You've got 7
Okay,
points to play with. You could just put 4 in courage right now, and
I'm
then
gonna do that
hold off
already.
on the other ones until you've decided what road or path you want to go for.
That sounds like a plan. Yep, I'm gonna do that for now. I am starting to get really hungry, so I'm quickly gonna order some food for tonight because
So, the path or the road of Lilith. Let's see here. The road of Lilith falls under which one? Here we go. Conviction and instinct. So that's conviction and instinct. All right. So, Jay, when it comes to your virtues, between your conviction, your instinct, and your courage, with your courage being your willpower, what would you like to put your 7 points into? Your conviction and your instinct combined decides how high up on your path you are. Your courage will decide what your starting willpower is. Conviction 2, instinct 2, courage 3. Okay, conviction 2, instinct 2, courage 3. This means that you will be a number 4 on your path. So right now, everything below destroying a thinking. So destroying a thinking being and below are the rules of your path that you need to follow at this point. With your willpower, how is that calculation done exactly? Let's see here. That calculation is, let me go to character creation thing. Let's see. Character's willpower. Player will find it useful. Far more attempt the vampire and with the consequences which will surface if they succumb. Raising willpower to 4 or higher is wise if you wish your character to last. Magda has a courage 3 and willpower 3, and has the notes that she will be setting aside some of her feeble points for additional willpower. Okay, so you have a courage 3, which I do believe means you have a willpower 3 according to this. Let me just double check that. Yeah, willpower equals courage. So you have a willpower of 3. Bum, ba, da, da. Whereas Dorian's character will have a willpower of 5, which is already filled out.
Mhm.
All right, fantastic. Let's see here. Yeah, you're level 4 on the Path of Thorns, Lilith. Correct. Correct, Jay. All right. So now we go into the finishing touches. This is where you would normally record your road rating, which is equal to your conscious conviction or conviction plus self-control and instinct. We've got that recorded. We've got your willpower recorded. Now we go for what your blood pool is, then your freebie points, and optionally merits and flaws. So, looking at generations, Jay Serafino, I need to start calling you by your character name now. Serafino is a generation 12. So let's look at generations and the generational chart. I believe it starts on like 188. Gifts of the Blood. No, it's not 188. Here, let me go to 4. Then we need to go to dun 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 dun. We need to go to page. Where is generation? The generation chart is what I'm looking for. Here, let me find the generation. Hold on. It would be in the backgrounds, wouldn't it? I think so. So 153. 153. Here we go. Backgrounds. Then we need to look for generation. Here we go. Generation. Page 341 is the page that we need to be on. 341. Here we go. So, as a 12th generation, your max traits are 5, which we have in there correctly. Your blood pool is 11. Your blood per turn is 1. So we have all that correct. All right, we're good there. All right, for a 7th generation, which is what Dear Dorian is, your max traits is 6.
All right.
Your blood pool will be 20. And your blood per turn will be 4.
Also seems...
All right.
useful.
Yeah, it's really useful.
I think. No clue, I've never used a blood pool before, just hunger.
Yes.
Kinda new.
Thus is the trapping of V5. Okay. So that is all that stuff figured out. Let's run back to finishing touches to see what else we need to do, if there is anything else that we need to do. Okay. So, all right. Now you guys have freebie points. You have 15 freebie points that you can choose to spend. So, your freebie points, if you make it to page 158, it'll tell you what an attribute, ability, discipline, blood sorcery path, blood sorcery ritual, background, virtue, road, or willpower cost for a point per dot. For attributes, it costs 5 points per dot. For abilities, 2 points. For disciplines, 7. For blood sorcery path, 4. For blood sorcery ritual, it depends on your ritual level. For backgrounds, 1. Virtue, 2. Road, 2. And willpower, 1.
When they say per dot, it's like you can
So in
add
other
on an.
words, you have 15 points to spend.
Mhm.
In order to, so you could spend all 15 points to get 3 dots in attributes.
For example, but you
For
could add
example.
on to an existing attribute without having to multiply.
Yes, this is without having to multiply. Any attribute that you want to add a dot into, up to your maximum, which your maximum in particular, because your 7th generation is 6,
Mm.
it would cost you 5 attribute points. Say, for instance, you wanted to increase your, say, for instance, dexterity, stamina, or appearance or perception up to that 6, you could spend 10 points, 10 of your freebie points, and you would have one of
Oh,
those
right.
going from 4 to 6.
That is interesting. Hmm.
Or you could look at your abilities and be like, I like the ability spread I have, but I'd like to have more. So you could start spending 2
Yeah.
points without having to do any multiplication for each point you get, or each dot you get, to start adding in extra things.
Oof.
Jay is typing away.
In 3 separate messages. Oh my god. And I will add to that. Look at those 3D points.
34? No. You don't have 34. You have 15.
15. Yeah, no.
Yeah, 15 freebie points.
Oh my god. Look at those 3D points. Yeah, it
34
was
was the
weird.
page for my bloodline. 34. No. Yeah. Oh, you mean what page was I on to tell you the points for your bloodline and stuff? Is that what you're looking for? Or are you just looking for an explanation? Okay, so the generation thing, God, I don't even remember anymore. Hold on, let me go to the backgrounds. Uh-oh. Here we go again. Should have remembered this page. I haven't had to go to it enough. So, backgrounds was on page 153. And then from the 153, we have to go to page 181. And then from 181, we have to go to 341. So on page 341, we can look at our generation, and you are 12th generation. So you have 5 max traits, or 5 points for max traits, a maximum blood pool of 11, and blood expenditure per turn is 1. And that is on page 341. Max traits. This is a character's trait limit for attributes, abilities, backgrounds, and disciplines. Blood pool. This is the maximum number of blood points the vampire may store. And blood per turn. This is the number of blood points a vampire may spend in a turn. Can you increase disciplines with extra points? Yes.
Yes. 7 points per point or per dot.
There you go. For 7 freebie points, you can get 1 dot in a discipline. So potentially you could raise a discipline by 2 dots or 2 disciplines by 1 dot. And that would leave you with exactly 1 point. And with that 1 point, you can increase either a background or willpower.
Just out of curiosity, it's rather meta, but I'm guessing that for a level up in experience, one moment. I'm trying to order food and they're being ridiculously dickish about it. So I'm starting to get really hungry. The cost for a dot through freebie points is different than XP, but is the multiplier for XP about the same as it is here on... when you spend XP, is the amount of XP that you have to multiply, is it about the same as a freebie points, or is that rather different?
Well, let's find that out. Let's see here. Where does it tell you about leveling? 'Tis the question.
Because one of the things I'm thinking is that abilities are rather cheap. So you could get a lot of bang for your buck if you spend on abilities. That's what I'm thinking.
Where is the XP chart? Let's look it up real quick. Let's go to... XP costs. Is this the correct Dark Ages? Is this v20 Dark Ages? I believe this is v20 right here. So attributes, current rating times 4. Existing ability is current rating times 2. New specialty or expertise is 3. New ability is 3. Background is current rating times 2. New background is 3. Clan discipline is current rating times 5. Other discipline is current rating times 7. Secondary path is current rating times 4. New discipline is 10. A new secondary path is 7. A virtue is current rating times 2. Keeping in mind that if you raise a virtue, raising a virtue with experience points does not raise the traits based on it, such as road and willpower. A road is current rating times 2, and willpower is current rating. Let me take a snip of this.
All right.
Copy. I'd like to know what page this is on, but it doesn't tell me here. So I'm going to paste this and say possible XP chart. In the meantime, I'm going to go back into the book and I'll get you the freebie chart, Jay. Let's get you that freebie chart so that way you can... Hold on. Alright, let me snip this. For the freebie points... Here you go. There you go, Jay. All the information you need.
Oof. Choices. All them choices.
All them choices.
Yes. I'm wondering if I should actually spend 10 points on Dex and turn it into a 6.
'Tis a choice, young Padawan.
It
'Tis
would be
a
rather
choice.
potent, I'm guessing.
I found the real one. Here we go. So, this is the real experience cost table.
Oh, yeah.
Snip. I don't know if it's any different.
Let's have a look.
1 second, and then copy this. Paste it. Found the actual XP chart. There we go.
New ability, free, discipline. I'm guessing new discipline counts for, what do you call it? Any
Yeah, new discipline would
discipline
fall
that
under
hasn't
any.
been unlocked yet.
Yeah.
Even if it is a clan discipline.
Yeah, clan and other simply means if you're increasing a clan or other.
So yeah, that it means increasing. So that is meta thinking that I'm doing right now. But for example, with the freebie points, it would be cheaper off buying at least 1 point in a clan or in a discipline, for example, you haven't unlocked yet.
It's true.
Because it makes it a lot cheaper in a sense. So that wouldn't be a dumb thing to do.
It wouldn't be a dumb thing to do, no.
One moment. I'll be right back.
Jay is thinking about typing something out, or he's typing out something that is very long, one or the other.
So it seems to be that it's not a real stream until I've eaten something on screen.
If I get an ability to 4, can I have another speciality? If I get an ability to 4, can I have another speciality? Yes, whenever you get an ability to 4, you can have another speciality. Mm-hmm. Let me see here. Let's add some ambiance to this. All this. Let's see. Looking for a very particular song. Pause that immediately. Let's see. Yes, Kai Engel. That's who I'm looking for. There I go.
So willpower, the total can be increased by 1 point per freebie point, is that correct?
1 second. Looking for a very specific album. Hey, Noob Smoke, welcome to the show. So, you're looking to do what again?
Increase willpower.
Willpower is just 1 point. It's
per
point
point.
for point. Yeah.
So I'm thinking of increasing willpower by 3. Leave me
So
at 8.
if you do 1 point for investigation, 1 point for Hearth Wisdom, not Earth Wisdom, Hearth Wisdom, with an H. Medicine, empathy, investigation, legerdemain, and stealth. That means I'll get a speciality in Hearth Wisdom and medicine, correct? Let's go look at your sheet. So your Hearth Wisdom would go up to a 4, correct? And your medicine would go up to a 4. So yes, that's absolutely what that means. And you're right, it's not a proper stream without you eating.
I've been home for hours, but haven't had a chance yet.
Okay, so he wants to put a point in courage, which will increase his willpower up to 4. He wants to put a point in investigation, legerdemain, stealth, empathy, medicine, Hearth Wisdom, investigation. There's a lot of things, so give me 1 second. 1 secundo. Legerdemain 1. Investigation goes up to 1. Hearth Wisdom. Oh, wrong sheet. Whoops. Close your sheet. Give me your sheet. Where is your sheet? Put that over here. There we go. Earth Wisdom goes up to 4. Medicine goes up to 4. Investigation goes up to 1. Empathy goes up to 1. Stealth goes up to 1. Did I miss anything? I've got investigation, Hearth Wisdom, empathy. Are you putting... Oh, you wrote investigation twice, so are you putting 2 points in investigation? No, 1 academics, 1 investigation. Okay. Academics goes up to 3. Okay. Legerdemain gets a point. Stealth, yeah. That means I'll get a speciality in Hearth Wisdom and medicine. Yes. Okay. There you go. All right. So what would you like your medicine and Hearth Wisdom to be? Hearth Wisdom herbalist? Yeah, herbalism is fine. Herbalism. Or we can specifically say herbalist. That's fine. And then for medicine, what are you looking for? Battle wounds. Okay. All right. And is that all 15-year points spent? Yep, 7 abilities, 1 courage makes 15. Okay. And what did Dorian spend his freebie points on?
I spent 7 to get my first point in Aspect. Um, followed by 3 to extra willpower, which brings me to a total of 8,
Okay.
if I'm not mistaken. And then I added 5 to appearance because it's not as worth while as the other ones, but it's fun. That's
Okay.
why.
All right. And here we go with the end of the finishing touches. So, merits and flaws, maximum 7 points. Merits and flaws, maximum 7 points.
Shit, we're not done yet.
No, this is the last thing.
Ooh.
Merits and flaws, maximum 7 points.
You
forgot about merits and flaws, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
All right. Merits and flaws starts on page 419.
That is deep into the book. When you say maximum 7, what does that entail exactly?
The max 7 is how many points of merits and flaws you can have.
In total, so it's not if you do a flaw that you... How do you balance these out, as in merits towards flaws?
Let's check on that. Let me see here. So, through training or narrative circumstances, merits and flaws can be earned and lost. Permitting this is entirely up to storyteller discretion. A character may develop while another character's dark fate may come to pass. Before allowing the storyteller should consider whether or not it makes narrative sense for the merits or flaws to be earned, lost, or changed. Treat the experience cost. Okay. If they wish to charge for the loss gain of a merit or flaw, treat the experience cost as if the character were purchasing a background. Outside of rare circumstances, flaws should not afford additional points after play begins. Flaws afford points. So, if you want to buy a flaw, it looks like it might cost you points. Let's double check that. Storytellers and players are encouraged to discuss the use of merit and flaws prior to the beginning of the campaign. It is also recommended that the storyteller chooses a limit on the number of merits or flaws that can be taken. Some suggest including no more than 5, 7, or 10 total points of merits and flaws. All merits must be balanced out with equal points of flaws, or a particular set of assigned freebie points to be spent solely on merits and flaws. Okay, so we have a choice system, basically, is what it's saying. Now, it's saying optional, I can go with 7 points total for merits and flaws, or I could go with 5, or I could go with 10, or I could say, if you're going to buy any merits, you also have to balance it out with flaws, or I could give you freebie points to be spent solely on merits and flaws. So I think I will say...
Considering the chronicle you've got planned, it seems we all start with a mental flaw.
Yeah.
Amnesia.
Yeah, you all will have a mental flaw of amnesia straight off the bat. Let's see here. Plus, you all will end up with a starting merit. which I will reveal via the storytelling. All right, here's what we're going to do. Merits and flaws. You get to choose up to a maximum of 5 points of merits and flaws. I'll be nice. 7. 7 is fine. 7 is fine.
Does that include the 2 points for amnesia?
You don't have to spend those points. That comes.
Those are just
That's
there.
a default.
Right. But those points also don't act as counterbalance for merit.
Correct. They do not act as counterbalance.
Right.
Jay's now reading like a Mad Hatter over each and every one of these. Because he's never even seen them. You think you're done, actually. Ah. And have you spent any of your merit and flaw points? Ambidextrous, eidetic memory, multilingual, and medium. All right. So, I'm going to go over to your character sheet. And we are going to go to your merits and flaws page. And we're going to add in... could you type out the point cost for each of those? Ambidextrous. And what type they are? Physical, mental, social. Eidetic. Memory. I can guess from those two. I think... Hold on. Ambidextrous is going to be a physical... Eidetic memory is going to be mental. Let's see here. Ambidextrous is 1. Good to know. Multilingual, I think, is going to be a social. Eidetic memory is 2 points. Good to know. All right. And medium. Which is a mental one, I think. Does medium count as a flaw? Multilingual is a or a mental, not a social. All right, mental. Multilingual is also 2 points. Medium is 2 points. Supernatural. There you go, 7 points. And then amnesiac. And that is a mental. Okay. All right. Fantastic. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. Dorian, have you decided on your merits and flaws? I see you've gone with the classic blush of health.
Yeah, that's just practical.
Ah,
Um,
you've taken a prey exclusion women.
I guess,
Ooh.
and I decided to go with vengeful as well, which is worth 2 points. Um, which would be fun for roleplay, I guess, is in having to roll willpower to resist, for example, retaliating instantly is probably gonna hurt sometimes.
That's definitely gonna hurt sometimes.
It'll also make for an interesting approach, I'm guessing. Should I do this to myself? No, why not?
I'm surprised when taking blush of health you didn't also buy the ability to eat food.
Yeah, I'm thinking of using a last point for that because then I'll be at 6 points total. Flaws and merits. But yeah, I might do that. Deceptive eating.
Yeah. Eat food is like the most useful of merits.
No, I'm gonna use that one then. So I'll take those two and then vengeful and prey exclusion as opposing flaws. Yep, I think that's it. Alright,
Now
I'll
you
just have
just
to
need
choose a
a
path.
name.
A path, a name, and a. I'll have to fill in all the abilities and such that
Yeah.
are available, just for practicalities and being able to find it rather a lot quicker than flipping through the book every single time, which is going to be even worse. So yeah.
Pain in the butt.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Quite a pain in the butt. Yeah. This is the hardest part.
This
Coming
is definitely the hardest part. Oh, plus portraits.
name. Yeah.
Beautiful, wonderful portraits.
Yeah. I have to
Okay.
find one.
Well,
Anyway, yeah, that's the character so far.
ladies and gentlemen,
Nameless.
boys and girls, we have created your characters.
Whee!
Yo! Fantastic. Okay. Thank you all so much for coming out. I greatly appreciate each and every one of you, and we will see you guys next time. Just as a quick aside, we might be coming back with a session 0.2 with Azzy to make his character.
Ish.
We will see. So, yeah. Adios.
You guys are right.